Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be discussing one of the main reasons that students, both cosmetologists and barbers, cannot pass their exam. And that reason is they don't understand the chemical services chapters very well. Chemical services involve things like perms, relaxers, hair color, and bleach, which the state never calls bleach. They call it lightening or decolorizing. Now, I know already all the barber students probably said, oh, I'm not going to watch this video. I'm not going to do that in my career. And you might not. When I went to school back in the Stone Age, I think Jesus was a classmate. It was that long ago. They used to give a combined license, barber and cosmetology. They don't do that anymore. But the point I'm getting at is we had to learn everything, both for the practical and for the written test. And I remember I said to my teacher, when I get my license, I am never doing a pedicure. And I've never done one. That was 45 years. But you know what she said to me? She said, that's fine. Once you get your license, you do what you want. But on test day, you're going to do what they want. And they're going to ask you questions about pedicures and other things that you're not interested in. And if you don't know those things, you won't get a license. And the state is just fine if you fail your test and take it 2, 3, 4 or more times. They're quite happy with that. They like the money. It sounds like a cash register. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. You don't want that to happen to you. You want to take your test once and pass it. For those of you who've taken it and not passed it, you want to take your test one more time and pass it. The point is to get that behind you. At least half of what's on the test has zero bearing on your career. I could take these books down to 150 pages, what you really need to know to make a success in this industry. But that's not how the test works. You need to know what's on the test. Now, today we're going to talk about chemical services, specifically perms and relaxers. Again, whether you plan to do them or not makes no difference. It's heavily tested. And I will say for barbers, it is probably the thing that fails most barbers. If you show me 10 barbers who failed, at least 6 of them failed because of this chapter, chemical services. Now, here's another problem. People call us all the time and they say, I just didn't understand the wording on the test. I took the test several times. The questions were different every time. Yes. The wording of the questions is different every time. The questions themselves are not. They cannot change that the opposite color of yellow is violet. They can change how they ask the question. They can't change the fact. 2 plus 2 is 4. You cannot change that. You could ask about 2 apples and 2 bananas or 2 Mercedes and 2 BMWs. You cannot change that 2 and 2 is 4. But if you memorize that 2 Mercedes and 2 BMWs is 4, and then the test says to you, how much is 2 apples and 2 bananas? What? You have to understand the real concept, not just memorize one sentence. And here's the example I'm going to give you. First, I'm going to look in this book. This is the barber book that most of you currently have. There is a newer one out, going out for a few months, so it's not on the test yet, and most of you don't have it. This is the book most of you have. And I want you to turn, if you have this book, to page 596. 596. I'm going to read to you just for a minute what it says here. It says alkaline perms, and in parentheses, cold waves. The first alkaline perms or cold waves were developed in 1941. Ammonium thioglycolate, also known as thio, or ATG, is the principal reducing agent. It has a pH between 9.0 and 9.6. So there's 5 different ways right there in those 2 sentences. 5 ways you can ask this question. They can say, what is the pH of an alkaline perm? What is the pH of a cold wave? What is the pH of an ammonium thioglycolate perm? What is the pH of a thioperm? What is the pH of a ATG perm? 5 ways, same question. If you don't understand that, you will not pass your test. It doesn't do any good if you can tell me the pH of most perm solutions is 9.0 to 9.6. If you don't understand cold wave, alkaline wave, ammonium thioglycolate wave, thio wave, ATG wave. 5 ways, same question. Now, for the disbelievers out there, a lot of the cosmetologists have this edition of the book. And here on page number 603, it says the same thing. Alkaline perms, cold waves, ammonium thioglycolate, thio, ATG. What is the pH? 9.0 to 9.6. For those of you with the newer book, a lot of you have, it's been out about 1.5 years at this point, on page number 559, let's look what it says. Alkaline perms, also known as cold waves, thio waves, ATG waves, ammonium thioglycolate. What is the pH? 9.0 to 9.6. I guarantee you this question is on your test. One of those 5 ways. It doesn't do any good if you can do a perm with your eyes closed standing on your head. If you can't get a license, you're not going to be doing anything. And those of you who think I'm going to work without a license, nah, guess again. You need your license. You need to understand all the different ways they ask the same questions. Now, we have a couple of products to help you do this, because now here comes the sales pitch, right? I have to do this because, well, that's how the company stays in business and I get paid. We all understand money, right? The company has several products to help you pass your test. They have a question and answer book. There's about 800 questions with the answers. Students say, well, how come there's so many questions? There's only 70 or 80 or 110 questions on my state exam. That's true, but as I said before, I just gave you 5 examples of how they can ask you the same question. Our book covers every way they've asked every question, so you will be completely 101%, if that was even possible, 101% prepared. It's $59.95. It's a very small investment given how many thousands of dollars and months of your life you spent in school. We also do private tutoring. It's done through the phone, depending upon your phone, either FaceTime or WhatsApp, an Apple phone or an Android phone. There's 7 classes, whether you're a barber or a cosmetologist. There's 7 classes. Each class is 1 hour in length. We go over every single page in your textbook. Now, I'm just going to use this book as an example, because I'm lazy to hold up all 3. The book has about 1,000 pages in it. If you knew which 150 pages were going to be on your test, that's all you'd have to read. That's what we show you. We take you page by the book and show you exactly what the questions are. There's 7 classes. Each class is 1 hour in length. We are open 7 days a week. You can do it 7 days in a row if you want. I don't recommend it. I think it's kind of information overload. I think no matter how serious we are, we can only concentrate so long on a subject. We recommend spreading it over a couple of weeks. For example, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or something. You also want to do it so that it times out right near your test. You don't want to have this class done a month before your test. So think about your test date, think about your work schedule, think about passing your test the next time. There's 7 classes, it's just you and the instructor, okay, done through your phone. It's $199. Give the company a call, 760-534-4434. They'll schedule your classes with the correct teacher. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call again, 760-534-4434. And before you go, make sure at the bottom of the page you click on and subscribe. That way you get notified of all future upcoming videos. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, remember, there's probably 80 or 90 videos already out there. If you go to the company website, www.cosmetologystateboardexam.com, go to the bottom of the page on the left-hand corner, there's a little icon. Click on it, subscribe, and you'll be notified of every single video. Thank you and best of luck on your test.